Welcome back to the gear shed. Going to do a quick review of this Fenix hl50 headlamp. You would have probably seen me do a quick review video of this hl10, which is the little kind of the baby brother, and I was referring to this light quite a bit as a comparison. I realised I hadn't actually done a review of it, so I thought I'll bang out a review, give me my thoughts on it, give you a rundown of bits and pieces. And I mean, this has been out for a while, so there are other reviews on eBay, but I'll give you my cut and thrust of it. Again, I don't pay for any of these. I don't get any of these for free. I have to pay for them out of my own pocket. So my money's on the line. So we're going to tell you what the truth is. So when this first came out, I got really excited about it because it kind of fitted all the bills. I thought, yes, this is the one. It's got good run times. Runs on AA batteries or CR123. So you've got two different formats. It comes with this little adapter here that screws in and it allows you to use the AA batteries. So it elongates the light. So you can use it in a small, compact size. You can see that against that AA there. It's quite a small light. It's probably one of the shortest ones apart from my 4.7's Atom in that configuration in the CR123. So it is quite small. I was thinking, yeah, this is the way to go. But there's got a few issues with it that I've kind of come across over the years, a couple of years that I've had it. So let's talk about what you get and the holder and the like. We'll go through how much it weighs, also run times. Then I'll try and give you some form of beam shot so you can see what's going on. So it has a XML L2 T6 emitter in it, and that's a neutral white color. So it's not bright white, cool white color. It is actually quite neutral. It's quite a nice tone. It's actually quite a good color. Don't see any green or funky tints with it. It's certainly not a yellow tint. It's definitely neutral. When you stick it next to a cool white light, you can definitely tell the difference. So it comes obviously with this little adapter here. It comes with a headlamp mount, which is this guy here, which is a little bit different than most people are used to. You would have seen these elastomer stretchy ones that come with like Armitex and Zebra lights and spark lights. And I mean, this one's a dirty Ultrafire one from an old torch that I had. So that's one take on it, and what Fenix has done is gone down the road and put this is sort of like a stainless, well, I don't think it's stainless steel per se, some form of steel anyway, and it means that this just clicks straight in to, let's come back a little bit, straight in, straight out, holds it quite firmly, it's not going to fall out, also holds the angle quite firmly. I was thinking, and a lot of people commented when it first came out, that it probably scratched the anodizing, but as you can see, it hasn't really done that to any great extent. I mean, the head's been pretty battered. You can see all the chips around there. Come on, focus. Chips and scraping. So, but the actual anodizing on there is relatively okay for the 2 years I've had it. Maybe a little bit more than 2 years actually. So you might be expecting this to be really, really durable. It's not bomber. Broke the first one I had. My 3-year-old son stood on it when he was messing around with it, and it just snapped off, and I thought it sort of bent, and I thought I could bend them back, but they just snap. So I'm not sure whether it is stainless steel or it was just a bit of crap metal or something, but it didn't work. Fenix did replace it though. They sent me a new one, which is kind of them. So they just sent me a new one of these in the post, which is pretty cool. What was interesting about that is that they just wanted me to quote the serial number on the side. I quoted that, and they knew exactly where I'd bought this from. They said, oh, you haven't bought that one from the UK, where'd you get it from? And I got it from a Hong Kong vendor. So they know exactly with these serial numbers whereabouts each one of these has been shipped and sold by the sounds of it. So that's quite interesting. So you have this little holder for your headlamp, which is quite comfortable. It's not super massive though. I wouldn't, if you're trying to squeeze it on the helm on that, if you've got a big fat head, it might be a little bit pushing it. Also comes with this, which is basically a piece of junk. I don't never bother using it. The idea is this you unscrew the end cap and slide that on, so it fits into here like that, somewhat. Okay, obviously in there like that, and then that goes on to here, which is a real fiddly job. And the idea with that is that when you've got the torch on, it sort of sits in that configuration there, and it means that there's a physical connection with the headlamp strap, so it's not going to fall off in a hurry. This has also got two holes in it here that are supposed to be used as a lanyard, which it fails dismally. Just rubbish. It was an afterthought. The engineers went, oh, we didn't put a lanyard strap in. Let's throw that in. fail, waste of time, never use it, stays in my parts bin. Doesn't have a lanyard hole, no magnet, does tail stand, no magnet, so you can't stick it to anything like that. That's a plus and minus depending on how you look at it. But I think a bit of a fail not having a lanyard hole. This is kind of perfect short size as a keychain light, and I tried to use it as a keychain light for a while. Put a split ring around here, screwed the cap in, and I ran some cord off it, which was kind of a bit of a failure because it was always coming undone and it was just big and bulky and rubbish. So it needs a lanyard hole. Would improve it immensely, and it wouldn't cost anything to put a lanyard hole. I just think if you just raise the end a bit and put a decent lanyard hole on, not an anemic one like the old this guy here. It's a bit small and anemic. That would be perfect, but no, not according to Fenix. So, yeah, that's the headlamp strap and this stupid thing. Whoops, throwing it around the place. That as I said, goes in my parts bin, and I'll utilise it for something along the line that's not related to this torch. So let's have a little talk about run times. Quickly go through run times. So obviously it runs on these two different types of batteries. Runs on a CR123A disposable. You cannot put rechargeable 3 volt or lithium ions on it. 3.7 lithium ions. Doesn't work. Blow the torch up. Okay, one of my gripes. Would be perfect for rechargeables. It's expensive if you're using a lot, running through these, it gets to be a pain. It's a nice format. It's nice and small, really light, compact, but you have to run on the primaries all the time, which, yeah, if you're losing a lot, it's going to cost you money. Or you can run on AAs. I run them on lithiums. They're quite happy with those. And also nickel metal hydride rechargeables and the like will work in there fine. So, runtime. So let's start with the CR123A. So they do 4 modes. There is low, which is 4 lumens at 150 hours. Medium, which is 60 lumens for 9 hours and 45. High, which is 170 lumens for 3 hours, and then a boost, which is 365. And boost is basically push and hold your finger on the switch, and it stays in boost. Take it off, it goes back to either off if it was off, or whatever type of mode it was at. So if it was low, medium, it'll go back to those. It'll memorize that one. So it does have mode memory. Now running on a AA, so if you go to a AA size, you're looking at 3 hours on low and 110 hours. 3 lumens on low and 110 hours runtime, so you get less runtime and less lumens. Medium, 55 lumens for 6 hours and 20 minutes, and then 150 lumens on high for 2 hours. And the boost, you still have the boost, but it's only 285 lumens, so you lose a bit of boost there. Quick look at weight. So we go. The holder itself is 31 grams. For that. If you just look at the torch with a battery in it, with the CR123 size, it's 46 grams. With the headlamp holder, that makes it 76. And then at AAs, you're looking at 52 with just the torch and the battery, and then it's 82 with the holder. That means if you say no battery, it's basically in the CR123 size, it's 61 grams all up with the holder and the torch without the battery. And then with the AA, it makes it 68 grams, which is just the torch and the holder with no battery. So I hope that makes sense there. With these runtimes and the like too, they are on what they call ANSYL, NEMA FL1, which is like a way of testing the run times of torches. What it means is that the torch can go from, say, it's a 55 lumen output for 10 hours or whatever it might be, or this one 6 hours 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Sorry, it will mean that the torch, when it gets to 6 hours and 20 minutes, may be at 10%. Okay, so it's a little bit fudging the numbers. It's a little bit like miles per gallon on the road compared to urban and mixed and all the rest of it. Because the torch could put out that 55 lumens for the first 2 minutes, which is allowed, and that's where they take the rating from. And then it could just plunge down to 10% and then trundle along at 10% for the rest of the remainder of the 6 hours, 20 minutes. Or it can maintain its brightness for a good length of time and then drop, which is what these do. This is digitally regulated, so it keeps its power, keeps its light output, and then it'll get to a point and then it'll start dropping off dramatically. So you're not going to get that 55 lumens for those 9 hours and 45 minutes. Okay, that's something you do learn with all these torches. It looks exciting on paper, but when you actually do use it, you find that it drops. Some worse than others. These aren't too bad. Right, so let's talk a little bit about the UI with this thing. So we've got a CR123 battery there. Let's move all these out of the way just to give us an idea of what we're doing here. Now, if you watched any of my previous reviews, one of the reviews I did was comparing this with this. So compared the hl10 with the hl50. One of the things with this one is you click and hold to turn it on, click and hold to turn it off, which is quite good because it doesn't turn on. See, push the button, doesn't turn on. So it's in your pocket, it's not going to turn on very much. Also, it's got a recess switch. Look at the switch on this, just as a note. Also has anodized threads, so if you turn the threads a couple of turns, she won't turn on. Oh, that's gone over the side. Won't turn on. So, what's the problem with this? You click it on, it goes on. No physical lockout because there's no anodizing on the threads on the bottom here, which means this thing comes on at the drop of a hat. You can almost drop it and it would turn on. Really, really easy. Because of that switch being so raised, it comes on all the time. But you can't physically lock it out. So you take a couple of turns on there, it still goes on. Right, so those two things for me are the biggest bugbear with this torch. The two biggest fails. When I was using it as a keychain light with a little split ring down the bottom that I made up, it was on all the time in my pocket. It's forever turning on. It was kind of a pain in the ass. And I've used it, taken it places and used it, and it comes on all the time. Something that no one ever mentioned, that the switch could come on, that it was quite susceptible to it, but it is. Okay, take it from me. So, for me, this is why this now hangs around the gear stick of my wife's car with a AA battery in it, and a lithium AA. So if we break down the side of the road, or she needs to do anything, or she comes across an accident or whatever and has to help out, she has a hem-lamp that's ready to go. Carrying it in your pocket, it just turns on in your pack, and so I just don't trust it. So one click turns it on. So we have low, we have medium, we have high, and then we hold down for boost. Now the phone's going to adjust, the phone camera's going to adjust, so it's not going to seem that bright, but it's quite a bright light. Finger off goes back to whatever mode it was on. That one's high. So click for boost, momentary lapse there, then it goes back to low. Click and hold, turns it off. So let's look at beam shots. So what we're going to do is we'll pull the curtains here and try and get some darkness going on, so you can have an idea of what. I'm just going to shut this door here as well, so you get a little bit more darkness than we used to. Ooh, bit scary. I'll hold your hand. Right, looking across the landing here. So we have low. Let's turn it this way so it's a bit darker. Low, medium. So it's got quite a concentrated hot spot in the middle with some spill around the outside, and high. All right. You do get a little bit of tunnel vision with it because of that hot spot in the middle. If there was a little bit more of a softer transition between the center spot and the spill. Now the camera's not picking up the spill. The spill is still quite bright, but that middle section is obviously something that your eyes are drawn to. Let's boost it. So that's going to be in boost. Okay. And I mean, it does get quite hot when it's in boost mode. You hold your finger down for long enough, and then it's going to go back to whatever it was. Right, so that kind of gives you an idea of that. And so it is still a pleasing light, it's still a pleasing colour. You can probably make out there that's quite neutral colour. It might come across in the video, not we'll see. But that big hot spot. So they've got a little bit of throw. I mean, it's not going to go out miles and miles and miles, but it is a little bit more than, say, a big floody beam that you're used to. It's probably got a little bit more punch than my Armitech Tierra C1, which is this CR123 version. So it does go a little bit further than that, and a nicer light colour. All right, so that gives you an idea. But unfortunately, so yeah, we undo that cap. It's got to come out till the cap is nearly off. Look at that. Turns and turns and turns, still connected, and then it goes off. Okay, so that's the problem. Comes on too easy. But all in all, the light quality of the light is good. The beam's pretty good. Nothing to be scoffed at there. Right, so let's have a bit of a sum up. Let's talk about the ultimate pros and cons. So, the pros, this size, fantastically small light, especially in this configuration. Let's put this AA one in while we're talking. Being able to convert it like this is a big plus, because if you don't want to run these expensive CR123 batteries, that was the little Panasonic, you can put this guy in here like this, screw it up tight, put your AA in, slide her in there. A little bit of rattling in there. That little plastic sleeve isn't actually, it doesn't do anything apart from stop it rattling. Doesn't, oh, turn that off. Doesn't accomplish bugger all really. There we go, that configuration. So then you can run the AA's in it. So yeah, so having the CR123's AA's, big advantage. You've got those dual power sources that you can use. If you can't find one, you might be able to find the other. I generally don't carry the adapter with me. So I kind of say, right, if I'm going to carry it, I'll just take it in AA format, or I take it in the CR123 format when I was using it. At the moment, it just lives like this, because I've just got lots of AA's, and it's a nice size for the wife to carry around. She needs to use it. And the AA's, I can chuck a couple of those in there and not be too worried about them shorting or anything like that in the car. So what else? The holder's pretty comfy. It's quite nice to carry. It's good that it can snap on and off really quickly. That's a plus, and it does hold it quite well. It's quite firm. It doesn't seem to move around a lot, which is that's a bonus. The UI, although I poo-poo the UI, it's quite easy to. I do end up lending this out a lot. So if I go somewhere, and I'm always carrying a head torch if I've got a job on or something like that, and I usually drive the wife's car if I'm going to go and go to work, and we have this in here. I'm forever lending this out to people that don't have a head torch, and it's quite good because it's not a confusing UI. You can give it to them and they kind of like, oh yeah, it's on, and then give another click and it does its thing, and all they need to worry about then is turning it off. So that's an advantage. You give it to him, it's pretty easy to use. You know, my 3-year-old gets it and runs around with it and plays with it, so he's happy with that. Lightweight as well. It's not a heavy torch, so that's an advantage there as well. And also, and a quick note, has been able to run the lithium primaries in it, which makes a big difference for cold weather use. I was doing a venture race in Alaska, and this is one of these things I took as a spare. We had to have a headlamp for running at night, so I used my hl50, the night core, and I used this as a backup, and it just ran it on a CR123, so it was nice, small and compact in my bag. Although that it did turn on when I was using it, which is which is always funny. So the cons, that switch is rubbish. Come on, guys, you can do better than that. Make it recessed. No physical lockout, so they anodize the threads. I mean, that would be easy enough. Anodize the threads, at least you can give it a couple of turns and you can leave the switch as it is. Wouldn't be a problem. So those two, either end, that's a problem. The holder is still got some cons about it. It's a comfy holder, but it's not the best. I don't think durability wise it's good if you're gonna throw it in your pack and just use it. There is a chance that you're gonna squash it. And there's a little bit of that. Maybe it'll scratch the anodizing, but it's probably here or there. I don't think it's actually good. It's more, to me, it's a good idea. It's definitely a step in the right direction, but maybe could be a bit more durable. It's easy to snap. Make it out a bit better quality material, maybe. No lithium ion support. Again, Fenix. What were you thinking? It doesn't take much to get a driver that runs on 3.7 volts. It would give this a huge amount of leeway with what you could do with it. You could run lithium ion 16340s. You could run 3.7 volt lithium AA versions. Would give you a whole host of more stuff. You could get obviously more outputs. Run times would probably suffer a little bit, but with that you can then run nice small compact size, but with rechargeable would be more cost effective. But yeah, no keychain holder. Hello, anybody listening? Get a keychain holder. It's not hard, just a little bit of, you can do it with the hl10. Why can't you do it with this one? Right, possibly a magnet. That's here or there. Some people like magnets, some people don't like magnets. I kind of prefer a magnet, but I can live without it if it's a big problem. But this has a little recess, like they kind of thought about it, and then they didn't. So keychain holder, definitely. Lanyard, because even when you're carrying it like this, it doesn't come with a pocket clip. So you can't carry it with a pocket clip anyway. And you haven't got a lanyard. So what are you going to do? It's going to make it easier to lose. You can't hang on to it as well, etc., etc. And then the other thing, it's a little bit handled now, and I know why they've done it, is the boost. The boost. Probably its only saving grace is you can access it from off. So like a momentary switch. Click and hold, you get boost. It's something that Fenix kind of avoids again. A lot of their torches, if it's a boost mode, you've got to hold your finger down. They seem to not trust you to have it as a mode. Even if it's a step down timer or something, that would be good. But no, it has to be press and hold. So it's of limited kind of use. I generally find I use this on medium a lot because of the run times, or I will stick it on to high and just suck it up buttercup and know that it's only going to last for a couple of hours if you're lucky. And it can actually last less than that depending on what cell you put in it. Just the quality of the cell and how old it is. So, but you know, maybe the boost with a step down timer that steps down to medium or high or something would be good. But yeah, that's just a Fenix thing. I don't go and buy a lot of the Fenix lights primarily because of that. When you look at the likes of Army Tech and Zebra Light, they can boost their output, so they seem to maintain it with a decent. Okay, they're more expensive torches, but they can maintain that output and do it with some thermal regulation that means it's easy and good on the LED. Right, so that's my little take on that. I don't really use this torch anymore. It sits in the car. As I said, I lend it out to people. It was so close to being what I wanted, and it kind of failed, and I've moved on. My go-to AA size battery is the Army Tech Tiara A1 Pro, and that seems to do a far better job. It's more robust. It's got more features, better switch, doesn't come on in your bag, etc., etc. All right, so hopefully that helps. Remember to put comments in the comments box so I can answer anything you like. Also remember to subscribe. Got some more reviews coming out as well. Going to keep going into the new year and try and jazz things up a little bit. Cheers guys, thank you very much, and see you next time.